The text message glowed on my phone like a grenade with the pin pulled. I think we should open our marriage. Her name is Amber. She's 27 and still beautiful. My hands trembled as the hotel key card slipped from my fingers. 23 years. 23 years I'd given this man, and he wanted to replace me with a girl young enough to be our daughter. The rage that filled my chest was volcanic, but so was the plan forming in my mind. I scrolled through my contacts to a name I'd buried 6 years ago, Interracial. My Korean ex. The one who'd made me feel alive. The devil himself. My finger hovered over the call button as lightning split the soul sky outside my window. If Robert wanted to play games, I'd show him what dangerous really looked like. I pressed dial. The voice that answered was smoky, amused, devastatingly familiar. Liana. I was wondering when you'd come crawling back. Something impossible cracked open inside my chest, something I'd locked away when I'd chosen safety over fire. Welcome to Soul and Soulmates Ladies, a channel where the voices of old ladies can be heard. Please like, share, and subscribe. My name is Liana Cross. I'm 50 years old, and I'm about to make the worst decision of my life. Or the best. The jury's still out. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror in my Seoul hotel room, staring at my reflection. Curves that defied gravity, barely. Silver threading through my dark hair, like tinsel I hadn't asked for. Hazel eyes that had seen too much and forgiven too often. The phone call with Jun Seo had lasted exactly 90 seconds. Coffee. Tomorrow. The cafe near Gyeongbokgung Palace. Don't be late, Liana. You know I hate waiting. Then he'd hung up. Cocky bastard. That was the thing about you, Jun Seo. He'd always been insufferably confident. Even 6 years ago, when I'd ended things, when I'd chosen my stable, predictable marriage over the wildfire that was him, he just smiled that infuriating smile and said, "You'll regret this." I'd hated that he was right. The next morning arrived too quickly. I changed outfits 4 times before settling on a black wrap dress that hugged every curve and heels that made my legs look longer than they were. If I was doing this, using my ex to make my husband understand what he was about to lose, I needed to look like a woman worth fighting for. Seoul's streets were already crowded when my taxi dropped me at the cafe. The air smelled like roasted chestnuts and expensive perfume. I spotted him immediately. Jun Seo sat at an outdoor table, his profile sharp enough to cut glass. At 45, he looked better than any man had a right to. Dark hair swept back, a jawline that could make angels weep, and those eyes, God, those eyes like black fire. He wore a charcoal suit tailored so precisely it was practically illegal. He saw me, smiled, stood. Liana. The way he said my name made me remember making love to him, and it makes me feel disgusting. I am married. You're late. I'm exactly on time. For you, that's late. He pulled out my chair with exaggerated politeness. Still as stubborn as ever, I see. I sat, letting my dress ride up just enough. Still as arrogant as ever, I see. His laugh was low, rich, dangerous. You called me, remember? After 6 years of silence. So, either you missed me desperately, his eyes dropped to my lips, or you need something. Maybe both. The waiter appeared. Jun Seo ordered for us both without asking what I wanted. An Americano for him, a vanilla latte for me. My exact order. He remembered. How's Robert? He asked, leaning back in his chair with the casual grace of a panther. Still boring you to death. He wants an open marriage. Jun Seo's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Something sharp. Does he now? Her name is Amber. She's 27, blonde, and apparently very flexible. And you're here because... I met his gaze. Because I want him to remember what he's losing. I want him to see me with someone who actually wants me. Someone who makes me feel alive. Ah! Jun Seo's smile turned wicked. You want to make him jealous? Yes. Using me as your revenge prop? Yes. He leaned forward, close enough that I could smell his cologne, cedar and smoke and something uniquely him. Here's the problem with your plan, Liana. You and I were never good at pretending. When we're together, it's real. It's always been real. My heart stuttered. This is just business. Keep telling yourself that. He signaled for the waiter. Come on. We're leaving.
What?
Where are we going? If I'm going to be your revenge prop, we're doing this right. Your husband wants to see you with another man? Let's give him a show he'll never forget. Jun Seo drove a black Porsche that probably cost more than my house. He drove like he did everything, fast, precise, dangerously confident. Where are we going? I asked as soul blurred past my window. Shopping. I don't need. If you're going to be seen with me, you need to look the part.
No arguments.
He pulled up to a luxury boutique in Gangnam that I couldn't even afford to breathe near. Inside, the staff recognized him immediately.
Bowing.
Murmuring, USSI, with a kind of reverence reserved for royalty. Who are you? I whispered as a beautiful attendant guided me toward the private shopping area. I'm a prosecutor, Liana. I told you that years ago. Prosecutors don't get treated like this. His smile was mysterious. Special prosecutors do. Especially ones who put away half the criminal elite in Seoul. He gestured to the racks of designer dresses. Pick whatever you want. My treat. I'm not your charity case.
No.
You're the woman who's going to be on my arm for the next few weeks. Consider it a uniform. The attendant brought dress after dress. Silk, satin, lace. Each more beautiful and expensive than the last. I tried on a deep burgundy dress that clung to every curve, with a neckline that was just shy of scandalous. When I stepped out of the dressing room, Jun Seo's expression changed. The cocky humor vanished, replaced by something raw. Hungry. That one, he said quietly. It's too much. It's perfect. He stood, circling me slowly. Robert's an idiot, damn. You don't have to. I'm not saying it to make you feel better. I'm saying it because it's true. His hand brushed my waist, barely a touch, but it sent electricity racing through me. You were always beautiful, Liana.
But now?
You're devastating. As much as I don't want to find you attractive, I can't, and one day you may just pay for it. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Jun Seo. We'll take this one, he told the attendant. And the black one. And the emerald. Have them delivered. The total came to more than I made in 2 months. He didn't even blink. Later that afternoon, he took me to lunch at a rooftop restaurant overlooking the Han River. The kind of place where politicians and CEOs made deals that changed lives. People stared, whispered. Jun Seo ignored them, focusing entirely on me. Tell me something, he said over grilled Korean beef. Why did you really call me? I told you.
No.
The real reason. I set down my chopsticks. Because you're the only person who ever made me feel like myself. Not Robert's wife. Not someone's mother. Just me.
His jaw tightened.
You left me for him. I left you because you were too much. Too intense. Too consuming. I was scared. And now I'm too tired to be scared. Jun Seo reached across the table, his fingers brushing mine. Then don't be. Let me remind you what it feels like to burn. Over the next few days, Jun Seo became my shadow. My beautiful, infuriating, impossible shadow. He took me to a jazz club in Itaewon where we danced until midnight, his hand on my lower back, possessive and sure. He took me to Namsan Tower at sunset and bought me an overpriced lock to hang on the fence, writing our initials with that wicked smile. He took me to a street food market and fed me tteokbokki while arguing that his favorite vendor was better than mine. You're wrong, I insisted, laughing. I'm never wrong. You're always wrong. Name one time. When you said I'd regret leaving you. His eyes darkened. You did regret it. That's why you called. He was right. Damn him. We fought constantly about everything and nothing. about whether Korean dramas were better than American ones, about the best way to eat kimchi, about his driving, which was borderline suicidal. "You're going to kill us," I shrieked as he weaved through traffic. "I'm an excellent driver." "You're a maniac who hasn't had an accident in 20 years. There's always a first time, but even our fights felt like foreplay. Every argument ended with laughter or heated looks or both. Robert has never made me feel this aroused even when his fingers were inside me.
Jesus.
What are you thinking, Liana? I almost shudder at my own thought. By the end of the week, photos of us were everywhere. Social media.
Gossip sites.
Someone had even taken a video of us dancing, his arms around me, my head on his shoulder. The caption read, "Prosecutor used mysterious new flame." My phone exploded with messages from Robert. "Who is he? What are you doing? We need to talk." I ignored them all. The following morning, Juneso picked me up in a different car, a sleek silver Mercedes. He wore jeans and a white shirt rolled to his elbows, looking unfairly attractive. "Where to today?" I asked. "Olympic Park. There's a rose garden. You used to love roses." My chest tightened. He remembered. The park was beautiful, endless paths lined with blooming roses in every color. Families strolled past. Couples took photos. Junesio bought me an ice cream cone and laughed when I got it on my nose. "You're a mess," he said, wiping it away with his thumb. "You're annoying. You love it." "I tolerate it. Liar." We found a bench overlooking a pond. Ducks paddled lazily. The sun was warm on my face. "This is nice," I admitted.
See?
I do know how to be romantic. When you're not being insufferable. I'm always insufferable. It's part of my charm. I laughed despite myself. Your ego is astronomical. My ego is justified. He stretched his arm along the back of the bench, his fingers barely brushing my shoulder. "Besides, you like it. You always did. I liked a lot of things about you. Your ego wasn't one of them." "What did you like?" The question caught me off guard. "Why do you want to know?" "Because I want to hear you say it." I studied him, the sharp angles of his face, softened by sunlight. The way he looked at me like I was the only person in the world. I liked how you made me feel seen, how you challenged me, how you never let me settle for less than I deserved. His expression shifted.
Softened.
Past tense. Present tense, I whispered. Something hung between us, heavy, unspoken, dangerous. Then a child's laughter shattered the moment, and Juneso looked away. "Come on," he said, standing. "I'm taking you somewhere else." That evening, Juneseo took me to an exclusive club in Gangnam, the kind of place with velvet ropes and security that looked like they could bench press cars. Inside, the music was loud, the lights were low, and beautiful people danced like the world was ending. Juneseo led me to a private booth on the upper level, overlooking the dance floor. A bottle of expensive champagne appeared without him ordering. "You come here often?" I teased. "Sometimes. When I need to blow off steam. Prosecutor by day, party animal by night?" Something like that. He poured us both champagne, his eyes never leaving mine. "You look beautiful tonight." I'd worn the burgundy dress he bought me. "You're just saying that because you paid for it." "I'm saying it because it's true. Though I'd think you were beautiful in a garbage bag." Such a romantic. I have my moments. We drank.
Talked. Laughed.
The champagne made everything soft and warm. Juneseo was witty, charming, infuriating in the best way. He told me stories about cases he'd prosecuted, about criminals who thought they were smarter than him. "Spoiler alert," he said with that cocky grin. "They weren't. Has anyone ever told you that humility is attractive?" Many times. I ignored them all. A man approached our booth, tall, handsome, probably 30. He smiled at me. "Mind if I borrow your friend for a dance?" Juneseo's expression went glacial. "Yes." Junesio, I started. She's not interested. The man hesitated, reading Junesio's body language, then retreated. I turned to Junesio, amused and irritated. I can answer for myself. Not when the answer is obvious. You don't own me. Don't I? He leaned close, his voice dropping to something dangerous. You called me. You asked me to make your husband jealous. That means for however long this lasts, you're mine. And I don't share. My pulse hammered. That's not. Dance with me instead. He didn't wait for an answer. He pulled me onto the dance floor, his hands on my waist, possessive and sure. The music was slow, sensual. We moved together like we'd been doing this for years. You're insufferable, I muttered against his shoulder. You keep saying that, because it keeps being true. And yet you're still here. Unfortunately, his laugh rumbled through his chest. Admit it, you're having fun. I was. God help me, I was. His thigh pressed between mine. His breath was hot against my neck. Every nerve ending in my body was on fire. Junesio, I whispered. Liana. This is dangerous. The best things are. When the song ended, we didn't move. We stood there, breathing hard, staring at each other like we were both drowning. I should go, I said. Stay. Junesio. Just a little longer. So I stayed. Because I was weak. Because he looked at me like that. Because leaving felt impossible. A few days later, Junesio took me to a resort outside Seoul. Traditional Korean architecture nestled in mountains that looked painted. Our rooms, separate rooms he'd emphasized, had views that stole my breath. What's this for? I asked as we checked in.
You've been stressed.
I thought you could use a break. From what? From thinking. From worrying. From Robert and divorce lawyers and everything else. It was thoughtful.
Sweet.
The kind of gesture that made my chest ache. We spent the day hiking mountain trails, arguing about the best route, laughing when we got lost. Junesio held my hand when the path got steep, steadying me, teasing me when I complained about the climb. You're out of shape, he said.
I'm 50.
So? That's not an excuse. You're also insufferable. You've mentioned that. We reached the summit as the sun began to set. The view was spectacular. Mountains rolling into forever, painted in gold and shadow. It's beautiful, I whispered. It is, Junesio agreed. But he wasn't looking at the view.
He was looking at me.
That night, the resort hosted a traditional dinner with live music. We sat on floor cushions, eating course after course of beautifully prepared food. Junesio ordered a soju, and we drank until everything felt warm and possible. Tell me something, he said. If you could do anything, no limits, no obligations, what would it be? I don't know anymore. Yes, you do. I thought about it. Really thought. I'd write a book. I always wanted to be a writer. So write one.
I'm 50, Junesio.
It's too late. Says who? He leaned forward. You're 50, not dead. You have decades left. Why waste them on regret? You make it sound simple. Because it is. You want something?
Take it.
Life's too short for what-ifs. His words settled over me like a blanket. Comforting.
Terrifying.
Later, he walked me to my room. The hallway was quiet, intimate. He lingered at my door, hands in his pockets, looking almost nervous. Thank you for today, I said. Don't thank me yet. Tomorrow I'm taking you whitewater rafting. You're what? Rafting. You'll love it. I'll die. Probably. But what a way to go. I shoved his shoulder, laughing. You're impossible. And you're beautiful when you laugh. His expression softened. I missed that sound. The air between us shifted. Charged. Junesio. Good night, Liana. He stepped back before I could say anything else. Before I could do something stupid. Sleep well. Then he was gone, leaving me in the hallway, my heart pounding, wondering what the hell I was doing. The next morning, Junesseo made good on his threat. We went whitewater rafting on a river that looked actively homicidal. This is insane. I screamed as water crashed over us. This is living. Junesseo shouted back, laughing like a madman. We got soaked, nearly capsized twice. I cursed him in 3 languages. But by the end, I was laughing so hard I could barely breathe. See, he said as we dragged ourselves onto shore. Fun. Your definition of fun is deeply disturbed. You loved it.
I had.
Damn him. We spent the afternoon drying off at a riverside cafe, drinking hot chocolate, arguing about whether the experience had been exhilarating or traumatizing. Exhilarating, Junesseo insisted. Traumatizing. You're just mad because you screamed like a baby. I screamed like a rational person facing death. Dramatic. Insufferable. But we were both smiling. Both happy. Both pretending this was just revenge when it felt like so much more. That evening, back in Seoul, we walked along the Han River as the city lights reflected off the water. Couples passed us, holding hands, lost in each other. I felt the absence of Junesseo's hand in mine like a physical ache. Can I ask you something? I said. Always. Why did you agree to this? To being my revenge prop? He was quiet for a long moment. Because I'm selfish. What? You called. After 6 years. And I couldn't say no. He stopped walking, turning to face me. I told myself it was just to help you. To make your husband realize what an idiot he is. But the truth.
His jaw tightened.
I wanted you back. Even if it was fake. Even if it was temporary. I wanted you in my life again. And I didn't care how pathetic that made me. My throat closed. Junesseo. You don't have to say anything. I know this isn't real for you. I know you're using me. And I'm okay with that. Because having you like this is better than not having you at all. It's not fake. The words escaped before I could stop them. Not for me. Not anymore. His eyes searched mine. Don't say that unless you mean it. I mean it, Liana. I kissed him. Right there on the river walk, with people passing and the city watching. I kissed him like I should have 6 years ago. Like I should have every day since. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Your place or mine, he whispered. Yours.
The drive to my apartment was the longest 20 minutes of my life. Liana sat in the passenger seat, her hand on my thigh, and I was trying very hard not to crash my Porsche into the Han River. 6 years. 6 goddamn years I'd waited for this moment, and now that it was here, I couldn't think straight. You're driving too fast, she said. I'm driving the speed limit. The speed limit is not 90. It is when I need to get you alone. Her laugh was low, sultry, still impatient. You have no idea. I pulled into my building's underground garage, parked badly, and had her door open before she could unbuckle. The elevator ride to the penthouse was torture. We stood on opposite sides, staring at each other, the tension so thick I could barely breathe. Junesseo, don't talk. If you talk, I'm going to lose control. Maybe I want you to. The elevator doors opened. I had her against the wall before they fully retracted, my mouth on hers, swallowing her gasp. She tasted like chocolate and wine and 6 years of wanting. Inside, she breathed against my lips. Get us inside. I fumbled with my keys. Me, a man who'd prosecuted serial killers without breaking a sweat, fumbling like a teenager. The door finally opened, and we stumbled through, still kissing, still grabbing, still desperate. My apartment was dark, except for the city lights, streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Seoul glittered below us like fallen stars. Liana pulled back just enough to look around. Nice place. I'm not giving you a tour right now. No. I backed her toward the windows, my hands on her waist. Right now, I'm gonna kiss every inch of you until you forget your own name. Big talk. I always deliver. I proved it. Slowly, thoroughly. My lips traced her neck, her collarbone, the curve of her shoulder. Her dress had a zipper down the back. I lowered it tooth by tooth, making her squirm. June SEO. Patience. I'm 50 years old. I don't have time for patience. I laughed against her skin. Trust me, you do. The dress pulled at her feet. She stood before me in black lace that made my brain short-circuit. Curves that could bring gods to their knees. Silver streaking through dark hair like moonlight. She was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Stop staring, she whispered. Never. I stepped closer, my hands framing her face. Do you know how many times I've dreamed about this? About having you here in my space, looking at me like that. Like what? Like you want me as much as I want you. Ido. Her fingers worked the buttons of my shirt. I always did. We moved to the bedroom. Or maybe we just appeared there. I honestly couldn't remember. The city lights painted her skin in gold and shadow. I laid her on my bed like she was made of glass, and she laughed. I'm not going to break. I know. I kissed her stomach, her hip, the inside of her thigh. But I'm going to worship you anyway. What happened next was fire and tenderness, and 6 years of longing compressed into moments that felt endless. Every touch was a conversation. Every kiss was a promise. When we finally came together, it was like coming home to a place I'd never stopped missing. June SEO. She gasped, her nails digging into my shoulders. I've got you. I've always got you. We moved together like a storm, building, pressing, breaking. Her name on my lips made me go insane. My name on hers was absolution. When we finally shattered, it was together, perfectly synchronized, two halves of a whole, finally reunited. Afterward, we lay tangled in my sheets, breathing hard, the city glittering below. That was, she started. Yeah. I mean, really? I know. She laughed, turning in my arms to face me. Her hair was wild, her lips swollen, her eyes bright. Your ego is going to be unbearable now. My ego was already unbearable. This just confirmed it. I kissed her nose. Stay tonight. I was planning on it. Good. I pulled her closer. Because I'm not done with you yet. Oh, I showed her. Slowly. Thoroughly. Again. The next morning, I woke to sunlight streaming through the windows, and Liana sprawled across my chest like she owned me. Maybe she did. I traced patterns on her shoulder, marveling that she was here, that this was real. Stop thinking so loud, she mumbled. I'm not thinking. Liar. She opened one eye. What time is it? Early. Go back to sleep. Can't. I have to, she stopped. Actually, I don't have to do anything. My schedule is completely clear. Perfect. Then we're spending the day in bed. All day. All day. What about food? I'll order delivery. What about Liana? I rolled her onto her back, settling between her thighs. Stop overthinking. For once in your life, just be here, with me, right now. She smiled, her hands sliding into my hair. When you put it that way. We made love again as the sun climbed higher. Slower this time. Tender. I took my time learning every curve, every sound she made, every way to make her gasp my name. Later, we did stay in bed. I ordered room service from the hotel restaurant downstairs. Eggs, fruit, coffee, pastries. We ate naked, feeding each other, laughing about nothing. This is nice, Liana said, stealing a strawberry from my plate. Hey, you have plenty. That's not the point. What is the point? The point is you're a strawberry thief, and thieves must be punished. I tackled her back on the mattress, and the breakfast got very, very cold. By that afternoon, we'd finally left the bed. Barely. Liana wore one of my shirts, just my shirt, and looked so good I could barely think. You hungry? I asked. Starving. I could cook. You cook. Is that so surprising? Yes. I pulled her into the kitchen, opening the fridge. I'm a man of many talents. I am aware. She hopped onto the counter, legs swinging. Show me. I made kimchi fried rice and grilled mackerel while she watched, asking questions, teasing me about my technique. You're very bossy in the kitchen, she observed. I am bossy everywhere. Even noticed. and you love it. Unfortunately, we ate at the counter, her legs wrapped around my waist, feeding each other bites, kissing between mouthfuls. It was domestic, easy, everything I'd ever wanted. What are you thinking? She asked. I could get used to this. To what? To you. Here, in my shirt, in my kitchen, in my life. Her expression softened. June SEO. I know. This is temporary. Revenge. A game. But just let me. I cupped her face. Let me pretend. Just for now. What if it's not pretending? My heart stopped. What? What if I want this too? What if I want mornings and kitchens and you? Then stay. Not just the night. Stay. June SEO, I'm still married. Then get unmarried. Fast. Because I'm not sharing you, Liana. Not with him. Not with anyone. She kissed me. Deep. Claiming. Okay. Okay. I'll file for divorce. As soon as possible. And then, she smiled. Then we'll see what happens. I kissed her until the food was forgotten. Until the world disappeared. Until there was only this. Only us. Later that evening, I convinced her to use the pool on the roof. My building had a private infinity pool. Heated, secluded, with views of Seoul that made people weep. I don't have a swimsuit, Liana protested. You don't need one. June SEO. It's private. No one could see. Just us in the city. She relented. We took the elevator to the roof, wrapped in bathrobes. The pool glowed blue under the night sky, steam rising in lazy curls. Seoul spread out below us like a galaxy. It's beautiful, she breathed. Not as beautiful as you. Smooth. I had my moments. We dropped the ropes. The water was perfect, warm, silky, welcoming. Liana swam to the edge, overlooking the city, and I followed, wrapping my arms around her from behind. This is surreal, she said. Good surreal or bad surreal? Good. Very good. She leaned back against me. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and this will all be a dream. If it is, we're both having it. I kissed her neck, her shoulder, the spot behind her ear that made her shiver. My hands roamed, learning her in the water, feeling her melt against me. June SEO. Someone might see. No one could see. We're 40 stories up. But I turn her in my arms, lifting her so her legs wrapped around my waist. Stop thinking. Feel. I kissed her until she stopped protesting, until she was gasping my name, until we were moving together in the warm water, the city lights reflecting off her skin, making her look like something otherworldly. We made love against the pool's edge, the infinity drop just beyond, the world falling away beneath us. It was reckless, perfect, everything. When we finally climbed out, breathless and laughing, I wrapped her in my robe and carried her back downstairs, ignoring her protest that she could walk. I know you can walk. I want to carry you. Why? Because I can. Because you're mine. Because I wanted to do this for 6 years. In my apartment, we showered together, which turned into another round of desperate touching, hot water raining down, steam filling the glass enclosure. I pressed her against the tile, my hands everywhere, her legs wrapped around me. Both of us too far gone to care about anything but this moment. I love you. I said against her lips, the words escaping before I could stop them. She stilled. What? I love you. I've always loved you. I never stopped. June SEO. You don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. She pulled me down into a kiss that tasted like tears and promises. I love you too. I think I never stopped either. We stayed in the shower until the water ran cold, holding each other, the words settling between us like a vow. The next few days were a blur of perfect moments. We barely left the apartment. I called in favors at work, delegated cases, clear my schedule. Liana was more important than anything. We cooked together, fought about nonsense, made love on every surface in my apartment, watched terrible movies, talked until sunrise. She told me about her marriage, how it had died slowly, inch by inch, until there was nothing left but obligation. I told her about my work, about the cases that haunted me, about the criminals I'd put away. Do you ever worry about retaliation? She asked one night as we lay in bed. Sometimes, but I'm careful. June SEO. I'm Phoenix, Liana. I promise. But even as I said it, I felt the lie. The tightness in my chest that had been getting worse. The cough I'd been hiding. The blood I'd found in my sink 2 weeks ago. I pushed the thoughts away. Later. I'd deal with it later. Right now, I had Liana in my arms. Right now, I had everything I'd ever wanted. I wasn't going to ruin it by thinking about things I couldn't control. A week after that first night, Liana moved some of her things into my apartment. Not everything. She still had her hotel room, still had her life in limbo. But enough. Enough that my bathroom had her products, my closet had her clothes, my kitchen had her favorite tea. This is moving fast, she said as she hung a dress in my closet. Is that a complaint? No, just an observation. Good, because I'm not slowing down. She laughed, but there was uncertainty in her eyes. What happens when Robert gets here? Let him come. I'll handle it. June SEO. I'm serious. I've dealt with murderers and crime lords. One mediocre husband doesn't scare me. He can make things difficult. Then I'll make things impossible for him. Prosecutorial privilege has its perks. She shook her head, but she was smiling. You're insane. You love it. Unfortunately, that night, I took her to a restaurant I'd been saving. A Michelin star place with a 6-month waiting list. But I knew the owner. Favors. Connections. The perks of putting away his wife stalker. We ate slowly, talking about everything and nothing. Plans for the future. Dreams deferred. Regrets examined. What would you have done differently? Liana asked. If you could go back 6 years, I would have fought harder for you. I wouldn't have let you walk away so easily. I wouldn't have let you fight. I wasn't ready. And now? Now I'm ready. Now I want everything. 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 You. Us. Whatever this becomes. I reached across the table, taking her hand. It becomes forever. If you'll have me. That's a big promise. I don't make small ones. We left the restaurant and walked along the river. The same path we'd walked a week ago. But everything was different now. She held my hand, leaned into me, laughed at my terrible jokes. I've been thinking, she said, about that book I always wanted to write. Yeah. Maybe I'll start. While I'm here. While I'm figuring things out. You should. I'll read every word. Even if it's terrible, especially if it's terrible, I'll just lie and say it's brilliant. She shoved me, laughing. You're the worst. And yet you love me. Unfortunately, we went back to my apartment and made love slowly, tenderly, taking our time. Afterward, she fell asleep in my arms, and I lay awake, memorizing everything. The weight of her head on my chest, the way her breath evened out, the silver in her hair catching moonlight. I loved her. Cool. You loved her. And I was terrified, because tomorrow I had a doctor's appointment. Result from tests I've been putting off. And I had a terrible feeling I knew what they'd say. But tonight, I had this. I had her. So I held her tighter and tried not to think about tomorrow. The next morning, I woke before dawn. Liana was still asleep, beautiful and peaceful. I slipped out of bed carefully, not wanting to wake her. The bathroom was cold. I splashed water on my face, staring at my reflection. I looked tired, pale. The cough had been getting worse, but I've been hiding it, excusing myself to other rooms, muffling it in pillows at night. I coughed now, deep, rattling wrong. My chest seized. I bent over the sink, trying to control it, trying to breathe through it. Then I saw it. Blood. Bright red against white porcelain. More than last time. Much more. I stared at it, my mind going blank. This wasn't good. This was very, very not good. June SEO. I spun around. Liana stood in the doorway, sleep-rumpled and concerned. I'm fine, I said automatically, but her eyes had already dropped to the sink, to the blood I hadn't had time to rinse away. What? Her voice cracked. What is that? Liana, is that blood? She stepped closer, her face going pale. June SEO, is that your blood? I should have lied. Should have made up some excuse. A nosebleed. Bit my tongue. anything, but I was so tired of lying. Yes, I said quietly. Why? She looked between me and the sink, her breath coming faster. Why are you coughing up blood? It's nothing. Nothing? That is not nothing. Her voice rose, panicked. How long has this been happening? A few weeks. A few weeks. She looked like I'd slapped her. You've been coughing up blood for weeks, and you didn't think to mention it. I didn't want to worry you. Worry me? June Seoyer. She stopped, her hand going in her mouth. Oh my God. The medication I saw. The way you sometimes touch your ribs. The times you've disappeared to other rooms. Her eyes filled with tears. What's wrong with you? Weren't you telling me? I couldn't do this. Not now. Not like this. But she was staring at me with those beautiful hazel eyes, and I couldn't lie anymore. I have an appointment today, I said quietly, to get test results. But Liana, I stepped toward her, and she stepped back. It's going to be okay. What test results? For what? My doctor thinks. The word stuck in my throat. He thinks it might be lung cancer. The color drained from her face. Cancer? Maybe. We don't know yet. Cancer, she repeated, like she was testing the weight of the word. You think you have cancer, and you didn't tell me? I didn't want to ruin what we had. Ruin it. Her laugh was sharp, broken. You let me fall in love with you again, knowing you might be dying. I'm not dying. You're coughing up blood. The tears spilled over. How can you say you're not? She couldn't finish. She just stood there, shaking, staring at me like I was a stranger. Liana, I need. She backed toward the door. I need air. I need to think. Don't leave. Please don't leave. But she was already moving, grabbing clothes, pulling them on with shaking hands. I followed her into the living room, desperate, terrified. Liana, please. Let me explain. Explain what? That you're sick? That you kept this from me? That everything we've built is... She choked on a sob. I can't do this. I can't watch someone I love die. Not again. Not after. She didn't finish. She didn't have to. I knew about her father. About how she'd watch cancer take him inch by inch. I'm not your father, I said quietly. No, you're worse. Because at least he was honest about what was happening. She found her purse, her keys. I have to go. Where? Anywhere but here. Liana, please. She stopped at the door, her hand on the knob. She didn't look at me. Go to your appointment. Get your results. And then, her voice broke. Then we'll talk. Maybe. And she was gone. The door closed with a soft click that sounded like the end of the world. I stood there in my empty apartment, blood still on my hands, my chest tight with more than just the cough. I finally got her back, and I just lost her all over again. To be continued. Will June SEO's test results confirm his worst fears? Can Liana handle the truth about his illness, or will fear drive her away forever? And what happens when Robert arrives in Seoul, ready to fight for a marriage that's already over? Subscribe and like for episode 2, because this love story is far from over, and what happens next will change everything.